You ever feel like life is just complicated, messy, and a bit overwhelming? What if the key to handling it all wasn't about trying to predict the future, but about understanding the things that never, ever change? So today, we're going to break down 5 powerful truths from the work of author Morgan Housel, designed to help make life feel just a little bit lighter. Right? So why does life feel so difficult so often? I mean, we spend all this energy trying to predict what's just around the corner. But what if the real secret isn't about looking forward, but looking at what never changes, the timeless patterns of how we as humans behave? Understanding that is the real key.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to cover 5 big ideas. We'll start with the dangerous allure of certainty, then move to the calm before the chaos, the weird mindset of successful optimists, the hidden flaw in perfection, and finally, why sometimes it's just supposed to be hard. Let's dive in.
Okay, first up. This one gets right to the core of a huge flaw in how our brains see the world.
This quote from Morgan Housel just nails it, doesn't it? Our brains, well, they're wired for simple black and white answers. We would much rather have a confident forecast that's completely wrong than a nuanced one that's probably right. We hate the messy maybe. It's uncomfortable. A firm yes or no feels safe, even if it's just an illusion.
Okay, let me give you a perfect example of this. You've got to hear this story about a woman named Evelyn Adams. Back in 1986, she won the lottery. Incredible, right? A once-in-a-lifetime stroke of luck. But then, just 4 months later, it happened again. The media went absolutely nuts. And you can see why, right? The odds of one specific person winning twice were calculated at 1 in $17 trillion. I mean, that number is so huge it's basically impossible. It had to be a miracle, a glitch in the matrix. But, and this is a huge but, here's the twist. When the mathematicians changed the question from, what are the odds of this happening to Evelyn, to, what are the odds of this happening to anyone, anywhere over a few years, the whole picture changes. With millions of people playing, the odds of someone, somewhere, winning twice drop to about 1 in 30. Suddenly, that miracle wasn't a miracle at all. It was practically guaranteed to happen to someone eventually.
So what does this have to do with you? Well, everything. Our brains are hardwired to zoom in on that one sensational story, not the boring old statistics. And now, thanks to the internet, we're seeing everyone's 1 in a million bad day all at once, every single day. No wonder the world feels so chaotic and negative, right? We're just seeing all the statistical outliers.
Okay, that brings us perfectly to our second big truth. This is a paradox that explains, well, pretty much everything, from stock market crashes to wildfires. Yeah, it's called the stability paradox. And it's wild. The simple version is stability actually causes instability. That feeling of safety and calm, it's not just the quiet before the storm. It's the thing that's planting the seeds for the storm itself. It makes us take bigger and bigger risks. Just think about a stock market bubble, for example. When everything's stable and going up, people get confident, super confident. So what do? They take on more and more risk. Eventually, the whole system is so fragile, one little thing can make it all come crashing down. See? The calm is what created the chaos. And listen, this isn't just about money. This is about life. Think about your career or a relationship. That exact moment you think, "Whew, I've got this. I can finally relax." That is the most dangerous moment because success makes us complacent, and complacency, well, that's the enemy. So if feeling safe is actually a trap, then how in the world are we supposed to make any progress? Well, our third truth shows us a mindset that kind of balances these two crazy ideas. Let's take a look at Bill Gates back in the early days of Microsoft. On one hand, he was this huge long-term optimist. He was totally convinced his software was going to change the world. But on the other hand, he was a complete short-term pessimist. He was so paranoid that he insisted the company always had enough cash to survive for an entire year with zero revenue. Zero. And that, right there, is the whole secret. You can only afford to be a long-term optimist if you're pessimistic enough to survive all the short-term craziness that life is guaranteed to throw at you. That survival is your ticket to the game. Without it, your long-term optimism doesn't matter one bit. So, how can you actually apply this? It's all about splitting up your thinking.
You save money like a pessimist, thinking about every little thing that could go wrong. But you invest your money like an optimist, betting on long-term progress. You plan your projects like a pessimist, but you dream about your future like an optimist. See the difference? And this whole idea of balance brings us to truth number 4. This one's a huge warning against taking any idea, even a really good one, way too far. Yeah, think about it like this. There's really no such thing as a 100% positive quality. Any strength you have, any trait you're proud of, if you push it to the absolute extreme, it flips and becomes a weakness. I mean, look at this. It makes perfect sense. You're detail-oriented? That's great. But take it too far, and you're a micromanager who never finishes anything. You're frugal? Awesome. But go too far, and you become so cheap you miss out on crucial opportunities. Confidence is key, right? But too much, and you're just arrogant, and you can't listen to anyone. So the point isn't to achieve perfection in one thing. Not at all. The real goal is to be good enough at a bunch of things. It's about building in a little bit of slack, some breathing room in your finances, in your schedule, in your expectations. That little bit of imperfection is what makes you resilient. It's what lets you bend without breaking when things inevitably go wrong. And that leads us perfectly to our 5th and final truth. And honestly, this might be the most important one. It completely reframes how we think about all the hard stuff we have to deal with. Let's go back in time to 1846. There was this group of pioneers called the Donner Party. They were heading to California and heard about this new shortcut that was supposed to save them weeks. Sounded great, right? Well, that shortcut was a total disaster. It led them into some of the most brutal terrain imaginable, trapping them in the winter snows and leading to an absolute tragedy. Their hunt for the easy way out led directly to the hardest possible path. And this brings us to this amazing quote from Jerry Seinfeld. When you're doing something that actually matters, building a business, learning a skill, raising a family, it's supposed to be hard. That difficulty, that friction, that's not a sign you're on the wrong track. It's a sign you're actually doing the work.
So let's tie this all together, shall we? If we can get comfortable with uncertainty, prepare for trouble when things feel good, mix that pessimism and optimism, aim for being resilient instead of perfect, and this is the big one, accept that the good stuff is supposed to be hard, suddenly life starts to feel a little bit lighter, a little more manageable, which really just leaves us with one last question to think about. What hard thing in your life right now is actually the very struggle you need to embrace?